I work with architecture studios every single day, and I keep seeing the same pattern. Firms buy AI tools, maybe one or two people use them, and then nothing. The tool just sits there. Why? Because there is a massive gap between having access to AI and actually implementing it across your entire team. The real challenge isn't the technology, it's the education and the implementation strategy. So today, I'm going to explain what AI actually is, break down the layers that matter for architects, and show you 4 ways AI is transforming our industry right now. This is your starting point before you invest in another tool. But first, if you are serious about making your architecture firm grow, or you are an architect willing to learn these systems and apply it to your company, I have put together an AI discovery for architects resource that you can access and get familiar with the fundamentals of AI for architecture. So comment presentation below, and we will send you the guide to access it on demand. All right, let's jump into the video. So just in a simple way, artificial intelligence is really just like a system, really, that is really good at predicting and perceiving and generating automated tasks and is able to assist with decisions. And a really easy way to put it is if you see that right chart here, and this is a really easy way to understand how AI works. So AI is really trained on a lot of data, which we call input. So from that data that is trained with, it's able to process and understand that data and reason that data, which that's the second part, which is able to process that. And from that data that is reasoning and processing is able to generate outputs from there, or the results. And from there, the interesting thing about AI is that it's able to get feedback and learn from that data and is able to recycle that into an input and is able to process it again and then able to generate other outputs from there. So in a way, the more you train an AI, the better result it's going to give you as long as the data is clean and good quality. And so that's a really easy way to understand AI and how it works. But the way I like to do is like create this analogy, because when we say about AI, we're really talking a lot about like a lot of things when we say AI. So now we're gonna kind of peel the layers and then really understand it a little bit better. Because when we say AI, we're really talking a lot about a lot of but things that, for instance, you probably have heard about machine learning or deep learning or generative AI and LLMs. So a lot of things like that you're like, okay, what exactly are we talking when we say AI? So the way I like to see it is this analogy of like a Russian doll. And I don't know, you guys probably have seen it. It's like these Russian dolls that you can open one, and there's one that it's in there that is smaller, and then you open one, and then you end up with 7 little dolls. So think about AI as like that. So whenever we talk about AI in general, we talk about the big doll. So we're talking about everything: machine learning, deep learning, generative AI. So it's AI is like the technology that encounters everything. So once you kind of open the first doll, then you have something called machine learning. So an easy way to understand machine learning is how it learns. So think about the processing, all the data and the processing of the data. That's what machine learning is. And then you open that layer, and then you have something called deep learning. And that thing about deep learning as the brain. So the brain is something that it's actually able to reason, that is able to understand and reason. And a lot of the good advancements of deep learning is that it's able to understand natural language. And that's what has created this huge momentum now, because now it's not just for coders or programmers. It's actually able to understand English, Spanish, Russian. Is able to understand any natural language in general. And then from there, we kind of open that layer, and now we have something called narrow AI, which think about narrow AI as a tool that is really good to do one thing, right? So the difference between generative AI and narrow AI is that narrow AI is not necessarily creating new things. Narrow AI, it's helping you to automate tasks, is helping you to optimize things, is helping you to find things. So for instance, when you are using a BIM tool that is helping you to for instance, class detection, right? Class detection between objects and things like that, that will be more like narrow AI. So it's not really creating anything, it's more like help you optimize and find things. But then you have something called generative AI, and that's what it's really creating stuff. It's able to reason and understand, and from there, it's creating a completely new output, and is like creating things. So think about technologies like Midjourney, DALI. Now you have these new tools like TestFit or Finch that is actually once you stretch the math, it's able to generate new layouts as far as floor plans of things like that. So it's creating new outputs for what it's learning, right? And then you open that layer, and then is when you have something called LLMs. And LLMs is pretty much specialized in language. So think about the ChatGPT, the Gemini, the Claude, the Perplexity, all those are LLMs, right? And the interesting thing here about architecture is that whenever in architecture, we talk about AI, we're really referring to that last three layers, which is the LLMs here, is the generative AI and the narrow AI. We normally, when we talk about architecture, 90 to 80% of the conversation follows these three technologies right here. And the main reason why AI has become so popular in the last few years is just because of the promises of increased productivity, increased efficiency, and innovative products or services. So, for instance, with innovation, we can already know how we leverage the technology right now. We're able to create ideation, a lot of visualization things. We're able to do a lot of due diligence processes a lot faster. Do a lot of what do you call data analysis calculations a lot faster too. So it's kind of also how we leverage it for us to create a lot more value for our clients. So that's for a little bit the concept of what is AI in general.
If you are serious about making your architecture firm grow, or you are an architect willing to learn these systems and apply it to your company, I have put together an AI discovery for architects resource that you can access and get familiar with the fundamentals of AI for architecture. So comment presentation below, and we will send you the guide to access it on demand. All right, let's jump into the video.
And now we're going to go to how AI is changing architecture. I know that in general, it's changing a lot more when it comes to construction administration and building. Here, I have focused on the, let's call it, more on the design and planning and administration side of it, on the business. So besides these four components that I'm going to show you, there's a lot more tools and a lot more use cases. But here are the ones that I'm going to be focusing on. So the first one here, we're calling about design and planning. So AI is already really good for data analysis, real-time daylight analysis, massing studies, compliance checks. So, for instance, right now you have tools like TestFit, Forma, you have Finch, and all those are great because they do help you to kind of understand massing. So, whenever you have a massing of the building, you can really start like playing with the massing. It starts kind of really giving you data that is like generated with AI, and it's very helpful. Also, you have the co-compliance checks, so you can use something like ChatGPT or Claude and everything to start doing due diligence processes like site analysis, code checks, and things like that a lot easier. Now, they're not perfect, but the more you prompt it, the more you are able to refine the technology, the better results it's going to give you. And we'll touch base on that later. We also have visualizations. So visualizations, we're talking about concept ideation, style transfer, renderings, and animations. So for instance, you have the Midjourney, you have the Nano Banana, you have Vera's AI. So the great thing about these technologies is depending on which one you use, it can help for ideation. Or for instance, you have Vera's that now the new technologies, you're going to see that almost any single thing of technology is integrated to an AI component. So you have, for instance, if you are using real-time rendering like Enscape or DeFi Render, you will notice that a lot of these rendering tools are already integrating their own AI tools into their system. So all technology companies are becoming these like hybrids between technology and, well, AI like components are in those companies. Then we go to project management and BIM. And here's where we'll see class detection tools, scheduling optimizations, troubleshooting. So if you are an Archicad user or a Revit user, you probably start noticing that the new, let's call it the new versions of them, they have AI agents included in those new versions. So for instance, in Archicad, if I want to pick all the existing types of windows, and I don't know how to do it, right? You normally have to, do a command F and then pick that. Now I'm able to just ask the AI agent, hey, I want to pick all the existing doors on the second floor, and it will just do it for me. So it kind of facilitates that time that it will take me to learn that or investigate how to do it. Now you have also admin and business. And this is something that a lot of architects oversee because they are so focused on the design element of it. Like, how is AI helping me with visualization, or how is AI helping me with code analysis and things like that? But a lot of people don't think about the business sides of the architecture, which is proposals, strategic thinking, meeting notes, data organization. So, for instance, you have things like Fireflies or Phantom AI or Claude AI. So now, and not just architecture, but in a lot of businesses, the meeting note takers are really useful because you are having a meeting with a client, you have Firefly or Phantom AI on, and as soon as you are done with the meeting, you automatically have the meeting notes. AI automatically generates summaries, so it does help you save at least half an hour to an hour of time for you to go back to your notes, write the meeting notes, and do all that. So that's how AI is changing architecture right now, and this is just the beginning. But this is just a quick overview on what it's doing right now. So that's AI explained, the tools and how it's transforming architecture right now. But if you're watching this and thinking, okay, Danny, I get it, but what's my next step? I've got you covered. If you're serious about growing your architecture firm, or you're an architect who wants to implement these systems in your company, I have put together an AI discovery for architect resource. It breaks down the fundamentals and gives you a clear roadmap to get started. Comment discovery below this video and we will send you the guide to access it on demand. Make sure you are subscribed because we are diving deeper into AI workflows, tools, and implementation strategies. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.